Similar to Hell's Kitchen, a lot of MasterChef winners can be pretty obvious, not only due to the fact that most winners are just flat out head and shoulders above the competition, but even winners such as Luca, who had a bumpy ride, had such a great edit that nobody was surprised by the time he won. And while this winner wasn't a total shock or anything like that, I think it's safe to call Gerron Hurt, the winner of MasterChef Season 9, its most unlikely winner. Today, we'll be going through his entire run in MasterChef and see just what makes him such an unlikely winner. Be sure to hit that subscribe and like button to support MasterChef content like this. And with that, here's the full run of Gerron in MasterChef. Season 9 would be the third straight season where the home cooks would compete against each other to earn a white apron. However, Season 9 was different in the case that you didn't need to beat your competition this time. Heck, you didn't even need to impress all the judges. You just simply had to impress one judge enough to where he would choose you for his team. As Season 9, of course, was the battle of judges as well, as Ramsay, Aaron, and Joe would all choose 8 contestants for their respective teams. So in a way, you could actually argue that it was easier than ever to earn a white apron. And you had to feel good about Gerron's chances, as he was the first one to kick off episode 3, the final episode of auditions, which is always a good sign. And Gerron would indeed do enough to earn an apron from Joe. However, had this been like season 7 and 8, Gerron likely wouldn't have earned an apron at all, as both Ramsay and Aaron preferred Ferran's dish and offered him an apron. Now again, maybe it was just personal bias from these two, and had the judges come together for a consensus, Gerron might have won this one-on-one contest. But man, it truly seems like Gerron's journey would have never even gotten started if not for the theme of this season. But nonetheless, Gerron is now a part of the official cast of 24 on Team Joe. However, things would not get off to a good start, as after an invisible premiere, he would have to compete in the Eggs Benedict Elimination Challenge, and things would not go well to say the very least.
Are you 100% content with his presentation?
Not 100%, Chef.
Well, let's take a look. You see how it's set in there? That's an indication that it's poached too hard. This is a bit better, but this presentation is not consistent. Crab needs more lemon, and then the bun needs to be pressed down, toasted more consistently. I really need to think about this to make sure that there's enough here to keep you in this competition. Right now, I'm not sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef.
To make matters worse, 2 chefs would be going home this round, and Gerron would be in the bottom 3. But in a somewhat shocking moment, he would survive. While it made sense why he made it over Alusha, it seemed like the main thing that kept him safe over Stephanie was that at least he put hollandaise sauce on his dish, as the judges loved all the other components of Stephanie's dish, but forgetting the hollandaise was unforgivable. I think had Stephanie even put on a terrible hollandaise, then Gerron likely would have gone home this round. But by the absolute skin of his teeth, he would survive and move on to the top 20. Episode 6 would be another invisible episode for Gerron, but in episode 7, he would finally get some pretty good content, as Caesar would save him from elimination, feeling like Gerron would be a good team player in the future, despite this being very interesting in hindsight. And after another invisible episode where he wouldn't have to compete in the elimination challenge due to his team winning, and the very next elimination challenge he would have to compete in, it once again wouldn't go well.
Error number 1. That's the intestinal tract where the shrimp actually process everything it eats. I'm not gonna eat that because that's disgusting. You made a huge error by serving the fish skin side down. You have this flabby, flaccid skin, but you over-peppered them as well. No bueno.
A gratin potato needs to overcook to taste good. Shrimp in the middle of the potatoes to overcook it, all of a sudden you've got a freaking golf ball in your mouth from the shrimp. And there you are with a bag of goodies and you give me this.
He would survive over Matt though, which you couldn't really argue, but Gerron would once again disappoint the following episode, as he and his partner Ryan would produce an awful 5-ingredient plate, which meant that those two, along with 2 other pairs, would compete in the elimination challenge. However, Gerron would finally have his first good elimination challenge dish of the season, and wouldn't squeak by this time. However, right when it seemed like Gerron could possibly turn things around, he would go right back to underperforming, as after his team lost a challenge, the first time he had been on the losing team all season, he would unimpress the judges with his cupcakes.
Oh dear. Looks like the old cupcakes have had too much to drink and sunken into bed. They don't look great, do they?
No, they don't. Height, it's not there.
So you can see through there. Insufficient aeration. Looks like the inside of a brownie. But if we don't start off with a perfect batter, we're screwed. I'm sorry, Gerron, but that's been one of your weakest performances.
See the walnuts there? It really weighed your mixture down, really and truly. I think they're very starchy and underbaked. And so, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not impressed.
Once again, it came down to the wire for Gerron, and in another surprising moment, he would survive over Mark. Now, some people say this was Gerron's luckiest moment, and while I don't necessarily agree, considering that Mark didn't even have a full plate of cupcakes, I think Gerron got lucky that he survived over Mark in the sense that the kid seemed like a cocky asshole to root against, but at the same time, had shown great promise so far, and this was his first true bad moment. And you would have thought the judges would have given him another chance, not to mention that he was simply a bigger TV character. So yeah, as we enter the final 13, Gerron is not impressed whatsoever. He had been in the bottom 3 times, hadn't had one mystery box or skills test to win, and his best moment thus far came after he made a great cheese souffle. But he was only in that position due to him and Ryan sneaking it up as partners. However, while Gerron wouldn't exactly do a complete 180, this is definitely when he's seen to step up his game, as I think he knew as well he was out of chances. But even at the final 13, the mystery box was deep fried inspired, so you would think that Louisville resident Gerron would have a shining moment here, but he once again failed to get into the top 3. However, at the elimination challenge, he wouldn't just survive, but he would surely have his first standout dish.
It is a jerk chicken infused with blood orange zest and then also a coconut cauliflower puree. I lived in Trinidad for a month on study abroad, and I ate a lot of jerk chicken there.
Well, I'm happy that you spent time in Trinidad and understanding those flavors. You were able to inject a lot of flavor in that marinade in the jerk in a very short period of time. Look, man, this is really showing that you're growing as a cook, Gerron. Very impressive.
Thank you, Chef.
So while not exactly a true turnaround, Gerron desperately needed this. However, the reason why I don't think it was a complete turnaround just yet was because right after this, Gerron would produce a bad halibut dish, which, to be fair, so did 10 of the final 12, and thus all had to compete in the elimination halibut challenge. And while Gerron wouldn't be one of the top dishes this time, he would once again impress enough to earn safety, now in a decent role of clutch elimination challenge dishes. However, after an interesting final 10 episode where Gerron went from thinking his team won, only for it to be a tie and the judges feeling the blue team did the worst, only to not have to compete after all since Emily would go one-on-one with Shanika, that would bring us to the top 9. And this is where I feel Gerron's comeback would truly begin, as Gerron would finally win his first mystery box of the season.
All right, what's the dish? Tell me.
So what this is a peach bread pudding. With the pecans, I just candied them. Then I finished it off with a bourbon glaze. My grandmother taught me dessert. This is something that she makes for every single holiday.
This is so good. And it's like rich and has good acidity, and the peaches are properly cooked. Taste home in this dish. I can taste your grandmother's kitchen. Coming out as a real contender. It's an amazing job.
Thank you.
The home cook with the best dish, Gerron.
Yes! Yes, baby! I've never won a mystery box challenge before, and I did it with one of my grandma's recipes.
This would be a bit of a catch-22 though for Gerron, because one episode after his best moment yet, Shanika would be the one to go home, meaning that Gerron was the last chef standing on Joe's team. But honestly, this probably wasn't the worst thing ever, as you have to feel that, as unfair as it may be, Gerron has a leg up over contestants from Marone and Gordon's team, as it would be a tough look for Joe to lose his team so early on. But again, I truly feel Gerron would feel this pressure, but instead of faltering, he would turn it up a notch. His follow-up from the mystery box win, though, would be somewhat quiet, as his team would win the following challenge, and then Caesar would once again save Gerron from having to compete in a pressure test. That would bring us to the final 6, where the judges personally chose Gerron as team captain for the ever-so-scary restaurant team challenge. Again, being a team captain is tough enough as it is, much less when these home cooks are on the line in a fine dining restaurant for the first time. And even though Gerron's team would lose, you have to admire the effort he put on as a leader, especially with Samantha and Ferran really struggling. And despite it being unfair he had to compete in the pressure test after how well he performed, he would save himself in the end with the best chocolate desserts of the night.
How do you think you did?
I didn't get a chance to garnish it, but I tasted the batter and the taste was there. Thank you, Joe.
Young man, on a slice in the middle, I want to see liquid.
Yes, sir.
That is what in the center?
That's liquid. Chocolate.
One home cook gave us a masterclass with all 3 of these desserts. Gerron, an incredible performance.
I can't get up there fast enough.
Let's go.
Who would have thought that these big old hands could produce such delicate, beautiful desserts?
And now all of a sudden, he was in the top 5. But unfortunately, while his elimination dish at the final 5 wasn't bad, it was just a bit too sloppy and not up to par that's expected at the final 5. But right when it looked like Gerron's luck had finally run out...
If I say your name, you are safe. Samantha.
Congratulations.
Gerron. What are you waiting for? I said your name.
Oh my goodness, man. I thought for sure I was going home. This is so exciting. Oh my God. I get another chance to prove myself in the MasterChef kitchen. From now on, my plates will be on point.
So, I hate to be that guy, but I truly think this is a case where Gerron got saved simply because this is reality TV. I mean, had he gone home here, that means it would have been all up to Caesar to make it to the final 3. Or else it would have been a final 3 consistent of only Gordon Ramsay's team, which would seriously affect the stakes of this finale. Again, it's not like Gerron's dish was bad, of course, but I truly feel like the season didn't want a non-elimination at this point, as the season was already longer than the average season. But again, it was kind of necessary from a storyline point of view. And I don't even think the show was opposed to having one of the judges eliminated by the finale, but the possibility of there already being a winner was simply too great, and I think it's safe to say Gerron was only saved due to this reason. However, Gerron would prove the judges right with their decision to save him, as he would respond from nearly going home to producing a great beef kebab dish and automatically putting him into the final 4. And with that, Gerron was now only 1 round away from the finale, but of course had some fierce competition to get in. The final 4 would be paired in the duos, and Gerron's partner would be 20-year-old Samantha, and unfortunately, the 2 would fall to the frankly much better pair of Ashley and Caesar. And so, it would all come down to 3 dishes, 1 appetizer, 1 entree, and 1 dessert for Gerron to earn his place into the finale.
How much heavy cream did you put in?
I just kind of eyeballed it. I don't think that you really need a set measurement of how much you put of, each ingredient in.
2 exceptional risottos. But I think there's one I prefer over the other.
How do you feel about the skin on your salmon?
Me personally, I kind of like it kind of dark that way.
You guys both did admirable jobs cooking a very tricky fish.
Gerron,
Yes, chef.
how much gelatine did you put in that mousse?
2 strips.
There's one I do prefer. And the person claiming the last spot in the finale, Gerron.
Congratulations.
Gerron, head up and complete our lineup for the finale.
So yeah, it started out very bad for Gerron, but now here he was in the final 3, representing Joe, while Ashley represented Ramsay, and Caesar representing Aaron. And once again, it would come down to an appetizer, entree, and dessert for Gerron, with him in the end doing just enough to become the 9th MasterChef winner.
Gerron, I've never tasted anything quite like that before. This is kind of like perfection. The quail meat is flavorful. The spiciness of the Nashville hot sauce is spot on, perfect. So many different things going on this dish, and they're all really well done.
Fork there with the shrimp, the grits, the sauce, the jus is worth $250,000.
I think so, chef.
Gerron, I just wish one thing. Man, I wish your mum was present to taste them. They're delicious.
Chef, don't scare me like that.
Wow. The flavor is so well balanced. I love the fact that you browned the top of the chest pie, gives another dimension.
It is delicious, but it's got such finesse. I'm dying to hear what your mentor's got to say. Great job.
Thank you, Chef.
Good job, brother.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
So proud.
I appreciate it.
The winner of MasterChef is Gerron!
I'm the next MasterChef, baby, yeah! I wish my mom was here in the flesh. The thing that I put out on a plate was representation of me, home, my family. I did my mom proud tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, America's Master Chef, Gerron!
So yeah, there's no doubt that Gerron's run to the end is very different from most winners with how much he struggled. Again, he was lucky in some ways to even get an apron this season, and had Stephanie given a full dish, he would have been gone 2 episodes into the official season. Not only that, but he didn't have one mystery box or skills test to win up until the final 9, was in the bottom 3-4 times this season, and likely only even made it to the finale due to the theme of the season. But despite all of that, he of course had his shining moments as well, really turned it on in the endgame, and overall, remained his determined yet positive self throughout the entire competition. And no matter what you think of him as a winner, you cannot take that away from him. So there you have it, guys, the full story of Gerron Hurt, aka MasterChef's most shocking winner. Let me know what you think of Gerron in the comments below, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll get you more MasterChef content just like this. With all that said, take care everyone, and I'll see you next time.